Hello guys, I proudly welcome you to this quick Microsoft Access database tutorial brought to you by Apple's Data Tech. Presenting here with you is Apple Smiler. Guys, I sincerely apologize to our community members here. It's been a while that I actually uploaded the video. I had been very busy because I had taken up some kind of new responsibilities and duties. But then with time, guys, we'll be back fully, and then as we used to be enjoying frequent uploads, we shall be back again doing that. Today, guys, I would like to share with you on the start of how to create a church management database framework. What I've come to realize is that most of us actually do quite a number of us do have the experience with Microsoft Access, because of course, if you've been watching the videos that I've been uploading over here, if you've been able to exhaust, let's say 70% of the playlist, the chances are that you can now create forms, you can now create tables, you can now build some kind of relationship and build some lookups. So building a church management system does not really it is not something I would say you cannot do it. So guys, how do you start to build a church management application? So to start building every application, the first thing that you need to do is to get the database framework. So the database framework, do not confuse it with the database schema. The database schema is a formal diagram that actually has all the table and specifies any type, the relationship, the kind of normalization, and even the flow of the organization of the database. So a database schema, that one is a format document which will have all your tables and the relationship between them, and even goes a extent of explaining and then also interpreting the normalization types that we actually have present between each of the relationships that you build. So what is a framework here? That is, if you want to build a church management system, what are the couple of things that you need to take note of and make sure that they are presently available in your system? So this is more or less like a paperwork of the church management database. So going forward, we shall be uploading other videos, taking up and building up all the tables that will actually be specified out here in the framework. So guys, we are going to do the paperwork behind the church management system. I know that with the church management application that I actually uploaded some couple of weeks ago, it has intrigued a lot more of you, and so this is actually this video together with the couple of the other ones that will actually be coming up. I would say this is actually a response to the various comments that I've been receiving under some of the videos here. So guys, let us delve right into it. Guys, if you have not subscribed to this channel, kindly hit the subscribe button and then also turn on the little bell notification icon, so that each time that I do upload any of the videos over here, you stand to be notified by YouTube and that you don't miss any of them. Okay, so guys, let us delve right into it. So to build a church management system, now the first stage, that is what we are doing here, is we're thinking. We have to just sit down, think with our paper and pen. What are the things that needs to go inside them? So church. So the church is a religious body which actually has people inside there, and then as the church has people inside there, there are a couple of activities. So you think of all the activities that needs to be captured in a database. So guys, let's say a typical church, so we are definitely going to have the church members. So with every church, the first thing that you do is that you store the church members information. So here you say that church members, so Control B. So first you just start with the church members. So there has to be church members in your, because church has the members. So church members is going to be a data entity, and you know that each data entity is going to be represented by a database table. So now that we have the church members here, which is the first data entity or the first table, you have to specify your attributes. So this is very important, because once you do this, it helps you, it facilitates the building of the database. You don't just jump into Microsoft Access and start building things. Guy, you might actually get stuck unless those people that are very much experienced. So now we have them. Let us bold this guy a bit. So we have the church members. So now the church members here, let us specify the attributes. So I'm going to put the attribute in curly brackets here. So the attributes at the same time the fields, or let's see the field names. Yes. So first thing first, we're going to have member ID. So member ID. Okay, so here we are not specifying the data type, so the data type specification will also be in another video. So you have to specify the member ID, then we also have to get the first name. So we have to get the first name. So the first name of the members, the last name, So also it's very important to note that when defining these guys, you don't have to, even when you are building your framework, it's advisable that you make it formal enough. And then field naming, some of the field naming norms that we need to strongly adhere is that there is not supposed to be any spaces. So the allowable characters are the underscore. So we have the last name. Now we can actually take the birth date. So we can take the birth date. Or we can just say DOB. So we can take the DOB. And now that we have the DOB, we can also take the telephone. So we can also take the telephone of the person. So once we have the telephone, we can also take the address of the person. So we can take the city of the person. So now, if your church happens to be at a place whereby a lot of people come from different countries, then you have to actually specify the nationality. So guys, we are not defining the data types over here. We are just specifying attributes. Another video will be specifying the data types here. So we have member ID, first name, last name, DOB, telephone, address, city. Then also we have let us think of some other couple of fields to add over here. So we have the address, we have the city here. Now we can take the church members' email. So we can take the church members' email. Now we can take the start date or the join date. So start date, that is the date that the person actually joined this church. So now we can take the age level. So the age level, we're going to specify whether the person is a child, whether the person is an adult here, or we can actually specify whether it's a youth. Okay, so now here we take the marital status of the person. So marital status here. So we need the marital status of the person. So marital status in here too is going to be options. So we specify whether it's single, whether it's married, whether it's divorced. Okay, so here too, now we can also think of the education status. So say education level. So education level, we specify whether it's a tertiary, whether it's secondary, whether it's uneducated, or none. So these options, guys, will be adding more, or you can add more of the options here. So here we have these guys here. So now we shall be adding committee. So we shall be adding committee ID. The member will belong to a committee ID. So if you have ministry, then say ministry ID. So ministry ID. So this ministry and the committee ID, they are going to be I've bolded them because they are going to be foreign keys. So guys, now let's say that so etc. We can add more. So now let us take notes here. Let me make it in red. So committee ID and ministry ID. So here is small letter. Okay, so they are foreign keys. So now we can also add what we call the zone. So the zones. So this zone, so we say zone ID. Zone ID is also going to be a foreign key. So we have committee ID, then zone ID, and ministry ID. These guys are actually foreign keys. So guys, let's take notes. Okay. So now, before we forget, so let us create all the tables whose primary keys we have got over here as foreign keys. So now here, the table is going to be committee table. So we say committee TV. So committee table. So the committee, the zone, and the ministry, they are ways of we actually grouping members in our church. So let's say, okay, So guys, so here we have ID. Now we have committee name. So another thing is that we're going to have committee head. So the committee head is going to comes from church members table. So let's take note of this. So we have the ID, the committee name, committee head, but the committee head is going to come from the church members. So in that case, next video we'll take care of the data type. So we'll come to realize that this guy here is now going to be a lookup. So guys, the name here is supposed to be committee ID. So you see the committee ID here is a primary key. So let me bold it. Now this guy here too is a primary key of this table. So let's bold all our primary key. So now this primary key here has been brought into the church members. So it means that these guys, we are going to use them to actually build a relationship. So committee table, primary key is committee ID. But then once we come into church members, we have committee ID. Here it is not a primary key because the table here has already got a primary key. So this one becomes a foreign key. Okay, so now it means that a foreign key is a primary key that is used in another table or whose values are added another table to actually build or for relationship building purposes. Now let us take note that it is not important that the foreign key and the primary keys have similar names. They can be of different names, but then the data type needs to be the same. So here it is actually auto number. It implies that here too it has to be auto number to avoid any kind of issues going forward. So now the next groupings that we're gonna do, guys, is gonna be we are going to build. So let's leave a space here so that we remember or we get the things well. Okay, so we're going to build a zone. So let's say the zones table. So the zones, so what is a zone? Zone could mean different things to a lot of people, depending on the geography that you're coming from. So if we say zone, what we mean here in my country, for instance, is we just look at where people are actually coming from, we group them. So it's area 1, area 2, area 3, area 4. That is areas around where the church is actually situated. Those are the ones that we segregate and then call them zones. So here too we have, of course, we need to have the zone ID. So we have zone ID, which is a primary key here. Now once you have the zone ID, what else? So let's say the zone name. So the zone name, or we can just put everything together, zone name. So now zone name, let's say zone head. So the zone head also here is going to come from church members. So it means that it will be a lookup from church members. So let's take note. Okay, so guys, we're gradually moving up. So now can you think of how the ministry table is also going to be? So let us enlarge these guys. Our table is enlarged. Okay, so we build church members committee. So now guys, let us build for here we're going to build. So for let's supposed to be this. So let's say the ministry. So this is going to be ministry table. Now the ministry table too. So the attributes we have, similarly we have ministry ID. So here we have ministry ID. So ministry ID, ministry name, then ministry head. Sorry. Okay. So let us look at this guy. Okay guys. So now we are done with the grouping. So we have committee table, we have committee table, we have committee table, we have zone table. Now also we have the ministry table. So these are going to be they are going to be groupings. So that's what we have over here. Okay guys, so now guys, we move forward. So let me close this guy so that I can have more space to type. Okay, so now the fifth table. So with the fifth table, we are going to talk about we are going to talk about finances, because church members of course will be paying finance, or we paying money. So here under finance section we have income and then we have expenditure. But then when it comes to church income, we have, for instance, we have incomes that members come to pay, like tithing. Some other churches welfare, members come to pay their welfare, and such are recorded. So members contributions that are recorded against members, that is also a source of income. Then we have one that for instance church, let's say you did an annual festival, all the money that came is an income, but then you put that together and you enter. So we have the income that comes all together, and we have the income that also comes from members. So we are going to do all these things. So here we say that finance. So finance here. So here under finance we have income and expenditure. Okay, so guys, let's go this guy. So guys, don't worry, at the end of the video you can find a link to this particular document there. So the first thing that we need to do is the account grouping table. So account, so account table. So now what is this account table? So account table, so let me first add the guys here. So we have accounts ID, so we have account ID, then we have account name. So account name, that is going to be, let's say, tithe, welfare, benevolence, that description. So in other words, account table is, it has description of your income or expenses. Then when you add any of the account name, you specify, so type. So is it for income or is for expenditure? So that is the type. So here you specify whether it's for income or it's for expenditure. Okay, so now that we have our accounts, so we move on to 6. So 6, now let's just build the members contribution table. So members contributions table. So with members contribution table, so this is a very important table whose specification we need to be very much careful with, guys. So what is this members contribution? So when members come to pay, so first thing is we have pay ID, which is going to be auto number, of course. So now we have member ID for relationship purposes sake. So we have the member ID also there. Now we have pay date. Now pay time, you can specify pay time. Okay, so now we enter the amounts. So amount received. Now we also specify the account type, or we can say description. Now guess where this is going to come from? So this is going to come from the account. So this one, let's make it account group table. So it's going to come from account group table. So pay ID, member ID, that is the member that is paying, the pay date, pay time, amount received, the account type or description. Okay, so now we also have to specify here the receiver. So that is a receiver. So the receiver will be coming from the database users table. So the receiver comes from database users table, and it should be automatic such that as soon as the user logs in, we capture him here. So it means that we have to also add a user table. So members contribution table. So let us actually maintain this few fields here. So this is what we have. Okay, now here we go again, guys. So now let us take care of the monies that we pay in bulk, that we collect as a group and we enter. So this is going to be income table. So income table. So now with the income table, we're going to have data ID, or we can say income ID. So we have amounts, so we have let's say dates, so let's say time, so let's say data entry or entered by, so who entered the data, entered by. Now also we specify the account type, so which account is this one actually going inside. So of course this is also going to come from the account group table. So that is for the income, amount, date, time, and then entered by. So guys, now let's build the expenses table. So here we say expenditure table. So expenditure table. So let's specify the attribute too for this expenditure table. So expenditure table, we have data ID or expense ID. Let's make it expense ID. So here too, let's make it income ID. So expense ID. Now amounts. So amounts. Now let's say amount spent. Now here we say, of course, dates. So of course time here, and now again entered by. Okay, so now we have this couple of tables: church members, committee table, zones table, ministry. We also have the account group table. So we have the account group table. Sorry, it seems we are getting something wrong here. Okay, so this is right. Okay, so guys, now what is the database? Which are the database users? So let's talk the database users. So we say users table. So here we say user ID. So we say first name, last name of the user. So what's the username? What's the password? So what's the password? So now security question, and then answer to the security question. So here user level. So user level, this is where we specify whether it's an accountant, whether it's a zone leader, whether it's an admin, etc., depending on how your church is actually organized. Okay, so guys, we've now been able to create 9 tables. So now we've actually finished with the expenditure. So let us move on to attendance. So with attendance, we first start with attendance setting. So attendance settings table. So with attendance settings table, we say so type ID. So meeting name. So meeting name. Then you define your schedules. So the schedule is going to have dates and then time. Okay. So this is where you specify where it's a Sunday service, Wednesday service, evening service, prayers, fellowship. Yes. So now, having done this, the final table is going to be the attendance itself. So here we are going to say attendance tracker table or tracking table. Yeah, tracking table. So with attendance tracking table, guys, we specify attendance ID auto number, then member. So member ID. Now here we specify dates. So the dates, you can actually add any name that you want to give to it. Of course, you can also enter it directly like this, and because Access is going to accept it. So we have the attendance, we have the time. So now here you specify the attendance type, so the type, and the type is going to come from the attendance settings table here. So you specify the type. Attendance do not actually have a lot here, but now you have to also specify the status. So the status, was the person present or the person was actually absent. So we track the ID. This one comes automatically. Member ID, the date and the time, the type, which comes from this table. Now what is the status? The person being marked present or the person being marked absent. So guys, you can see it looks simple, but then once we start the building, then that we actually expand this, include queries, reports, and then also forms. So guys, if you want to build a church management database, these are a couple of information that you will actually need. Of course, I'm not limiting you to this. This is the standard that you can just take and just build upon it. So guys, what some other important things are missing here in a church members table, let us add. So we have to specify the gender. Now people are contemplating, do we have to add age? Okay, here to me age is not necessary because we have the DOB and we can just use the date function in Microsoft Access to get the age of the person, either in days, months, or year, depending on how you actually want to do it. Okay guys, so guys, feel free to build on the attributes that you actually have over here, because I know depending on the country that you're coming from, the way you even find yourself, a lot more of information might be needed, and there's more than these guys. So this is a standard I wanted to share with you, that is to be the start of the church management project if you will build it. So in the next video, we'll be talking about the data type of the attribute that we've actually specified over here. Then in subsequent videos, we'll look at how to put the things together and build tables, reports, and then also forms. I believe that by the end of this series of videos, majority of us, let's say anyone that would have been able to actually follow the videos will be impacted a lot and will be at a very good position in creating your own church management database. Also, with the one that we have uploaded over there, the source codes are also available, but then guys, with that one we will have to actually pay. Yes. So guys, thank you very much. If you have a comment regarding any of the attributes that you put over here, if something needs to have been done but then it has not been done, you think so, you can just let me know in the comment section and I'll reply to you. I'm going to give you a reply, or I'll give you a reply as fast as possible as I can. Guys, thank you very much for watching this video. I will see you in the next video. Bye.